Before modern 13 and 18-speed transmissions, American truckers had a different way of getting more gears. They added another transmission. Some trucks had 2 gear levers, and knowing how to work both could mean the difference between climbing a brutal hill or coming to a stop. This is the story of the auxiliary transmission, the extra gearbox that gave American trucks more gears, more control, and the ability to haul loads that ordinary transmissions couldn't handle. Picture the cab of an early heavy hauler, sometime before the highway system even existed. Dirt roads, steep grades, an engine that by today's standards would look almost comically small for the weight sitting behind it. No power steering, no suspension worth mentioning. Just a driver, a wheel, and a hillside that didn't care about any of it. That was the reality for American truckers for decades. Main transmissions typically offered only 3 or 4 forward speeds. That's it. No 5th gear to fall back on. No low crawler range for a brutal incline. Nothing between too fast to pull and too slow to move. Drivers didn't lack power so much as they lacked choices. Usable ratios between the gear that stalled the engine and the gear that spun the wheels uselessly. So the industry did something clever. Instead of redesigning the whole drivetrain, they bolted a second transmission right behind the first. An auxiliary transmission, mounted in line with the main gearbox, didn't need to reinvent anything. It just multiplied what was already there. Drop it into low range, and a truck gained a crawling gear steep enough for a mountain pass. Shift it to overdrive, and that same truck could stretch out on a highway without the engine screaming at redline for hours on end. Think about what that meant for a driver hauling something enormous behind a modest 6-cylinder engine. The math wasn't in his favor until this second box of gears rewrote it completely. This wasn't a luxury feature. It was survival equipment for the load behind the cab. A T-Pub training manual on heavy equipment put it plainly. The auxiliary transmission increased the engine-to-axle gear ratio and effectively doubled the truck's mechanical advantage. Doubled. Not improved. Doubled. But here's the catch nobody driving one of these rigs could ignore. That second transmission didn't operate itself. It came with its own lever, planted right next to the first, and it demanded a driver who understood exactly when and how to use it. Guess wrong on a steep pull, and the whole load stalled dead on the grade, engine lugging, wheels barely turning, horns building up behind you on a road too narrow to pass. And one manufacturer built more of these extra gearboxes than anyone else in America. Their name would eventually become the word truckers used for the entire concept, a name that outlived the company that built it. The company was Brown-Lipe, and according to sources tracking the era's equipment, they were the largest builder of auxiliary transmissions in the country. That dominance is exactly why the nickname stuck. Truckers didn't call it the auxiliary, they called it a brownie. The unit became so common that the brand name quietly turned into the generic term, the way people say a certain word for a tissue, never thinking about where it came from. Brown-Lipe's design was elegant in its simplicity. 3 forward speeds, but not just 3 random ratios thrown together. A direct drive setting that passed power straight through with no gear reduction at all. Ideal for cruising once a load was already rolling. An overdrive setting that let the engine spin slower at highway speed, saving wear and fuel on long stretches of open road. And an underdrive setting, the crawler, built for exactly one job, getting an obscenely heavy load, moving from a dead stop on a grade that would stall anything else. Direct drive for efficiency, overdrive for the open road, underdrive for brute force, one small unit bolted behind another, carrying 3 completely different personalities, each one waiting for the driver's hand to choose correctly. You can still see this system today, bolted into trucks that refused to be forgotten. A 1949 International Harvester KB11, preserved and on display, pairs a 5-speed Fuller direct main transmission with a 3-speed Brown-Lipe auxiliary. A 1955 Mack LTL runs a 5-speed Mack TR720 main gearbox alongside a Brown-Lipe 8035G auxiliary. A combination that still let the truck hold a top speed of 60 miles per hour even while hauling serious weight up long grades. Even before that, in 1939, Fagale trucks were already running a Brown-Lipe 3-speed auxiliary behind a 4-speed main transmission. This wasn't some rare upgrade reserved for specialty rigs. It was becoming the expected setup across an entire industry, from farm country to interstate freight, from lumber roads to military depots. Walk around one of these restored trucks today and you'll notice something odd. The auxiliary case looks almost like an afterthought, tucked in tight behind the main housing, barely bigger than a toolbox. Nobody looking at it from the outside would guess how much control lived inside that small casting. But knowing which gear to select and when was an entirely different skill than knowing the gear existed. Because 2 levers in one cab meant 2 decisions happening at once. And getting that wrong meant a very expensive, very public mistake. Stalled dead center on a hill with traffic backing up behind you. Here's where the romance of the Brownie meets the reality of actually driving one. A 4-speed main transmission paired with a 3-speed Brown-Lipe auxiliary didn't just give a driver 7 gears, it multiplied them. 4 multiplied by 3, 12 forward gear ratios, confirmed in a 1950s-era oil tanker setup, running exactly that combination. A C30 with a 4-speed main and a Brown-Lipe 3-speed auxiliary, producing 12 usable ratios from what looked at a glance like 2 ordinary gearboxes bolted end to end. 12 gears, from 2 boxes. No computer, no electronic sensor, nothing but 2 levers and a driver's memory. And that's the part modern drivers find almost hard to believe. This wasn't automatic. It wasn't even semi-automatic. Every single shift required the driver to independently manage 2 separate transmissions in the correct sequence at the correct engine speed, using a single clutch pedal to bridge both of them at once. Supreme Truck Repair describes this setup, a main transmission paired with an auxiliary, older Spicer 2-box systems being a common example. And the nickname stuck for the same reason it stuck everywhere else: Brownie. Now picture the actual motion. Right hand on the main shifter, that same hand, or sometimes a second hand entirely, reaching for the auxiliary lever mounted just beside or behind it. Left foot working the clutch. Right foot balancing throttle against engine RPM, because shifting too early meant lugging the engine into a stall, and shifting too late meant redlining it for no reason at all. There was no room for guessing. A driver had to feel the engine's sweet spot, anticipate the road ahead. Is this grade about to steepen or ease off? And select the correct combination from 12 possible gears, sometimes while still holding a loaded trailer on an incline with nothing but clutch control and nerve. One boot hovering over the brake just in case the math went wrong. Military applications leaned on this same principle. A scout car used in the 1930s ran a Brown-Lipe 4-speed forward transmission paired with a dual-range auxiliary, because even the Army needed that same multiplied control in the field, far from any paved road, hauling supplies through terrain no ordinary gearbox could handle alone. This was a skill. A learned, physical, split-second skill, and for decades it was simply what it meant to drive a serious truck. For most of the 20th century, that skill wasn't optional. It was the job. FreightWaves reports that over 95% of trucks still ran manual transmissions as late as 2005. 95%. That's not a niche preference. That's an entire industry still built around drivers who could run 2 gearboxes by feel, on instinct, without thinking twice about it, day after day, load after load, coast to coast. In every kind of weather, a windshield could survive. Then the math started shifting. Automated manual transmissions, computer-controlled systems built on the same manual gearbox architecture but shifted by electronics instead of a driver's hand, began creeping into fleets. Slowly at first, then faster than anyone in the industry expected. By somewhere between 2014 and 2017, FreightWaves says the industry hit a 50-50 split. Half the trucks rolling off the line still needed a driver who could work a clutch and read an engine. Half of them didn't need that skill at all anymore. That's not a trend. That's a tipping point. And it didn't stop there. By 2018 and 2019, major manufacturers were reporting automated manual transmission take rates between 75% and 80%. 3/4 to 4/5 of new trucks arriving already shifted for the driver, no second lever required, no left hand darting between 2 levers at once. No need to memorize 12 combinations before your first solo run. Sit with that for a second. A skill that took years to master, reading an engine's sound, timing a clutch, coordinating 2 separate levers into 12 precise combinations, became something a computer chip handled without asking the driver's opinion or even letting him touch it. Veteran drivers who'd spent decades feeling for that exact moment between lugging and redlining watched a dashboard do it instead, silently every single time, without ever missing a shift. Today, FreightWaves puts that number at roughly 80% of new Class 8 trucks rolling off the line with automated manual transmissions already installed. The twin-stick Brownie didn't get improved. It got replaced, quietly gearbox by gearbox, fleet by fleet, until the skill itself became optional, then rare, then nearly gone. But replaced isn't the same as erased. Because what those automated systems are doing under the hood, invisibly, is the exact same multiplication the Brownie pioneered decades earlier. Here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Every automated manual transmission humming along in a modern Class 8 truck is running on a principle Brown-Lipe proved was already necessary. Multiply the ratios, give the engine more usable choices between stall and redline. The Brownie didn't disappear so much as it went digital. Hidden inside a sealed housing, no driver ever opens, no lever ever visible on the floor, no clutch pedal timing left to memory. You can still find the originals though, not buried in scrapyards, but preserved on purpose. The Iowa 80 Trucking Museum keeps that 1949 International Harvester KB11 on display. Its 5-speed Fuller direct main and 3-speed Brown-Lipe auxiliary sitting exactly where a mechanic bolted them in decades ago, untouched and still turning by hand when a curator asks. The 1955 Mack LTL sits nearby, its own Brown-Lipe auxiliary intact, still telling the same story to anyone who leans in close enough to read the castings stamped into the housing. Worn smooth by decades of hands that once knew exactly where to grip it. Walk the aisles of that museum slowly, and you start noticing the pattern repeating truck after truck. A second lever, a second housing, the same quiet solution bolted in again and again. Decade after decade, brand after brand, because the problem never really changed. Service manuals from International Harvester still explain in careful technical language how to maintain these systems: direct drive, overdrive, underdrive. Each one spelled out for a mechanic who might never have driven a truck built this way, but needs to understand exactly why it mattered to the driver who once relied on it every single mile. It mattered because it solved a problem that had no shortcut. Small engines, enormous loads, and roads that didn't care about either one. The Brownie was the answer American truckers built with 2 levers and a lot of practiced skill. decades before anyone imagined a computer would do the choosing for them. So the next time you're behind a modern 18-speed rig, gliding through gears you'll never see or touch, remember what used to sit under that floor. A truck rolling up to a mountain grade with only 4 gears to its name. Until someone bolted on a second gearbox, multiplied the math, and gave American trucking the ratios it had been missing all along. If stories like this are the kind that stick with you, subscribe to Vanished Products, because under every modern truck, there's still an old idea quietly doing the work.